Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Alrighty, so today we're going to be having a look at substitution. So substitution is all about using a formula to do something with it. So we're given values to actually do something with the formula. Alrighty, so let's get straight into it. Alrighty, so let's take an equation that we're probably a little bit familiar with and just check that we're feeling alright with it. A equals L times W. A fairly common expression we'd have. And if I told you that the length was equal to 6 and the width was equal to 5, we'd be all able to substitute quite nicely in L and W. So I could turn that into A equals 6 times 5 and get a final answer of 30. Just by substituting. That's all substitution is. Alrighty, so that's just a real basic, brief reminder. It means that we're turning variables into numbers, right? So let's have a look at a really common one, the one that we're going to be looking at a lot. And these are called linear equations. Why are they called linear equations? It's just because they've got an equal sign and we're not squaring, we're not cubing, we're not rooting, we're not doing any of those things. We're just doing multiplication, maybe division sometimes, and addition and subtraction. So we're just using our basic 4 operations. All right, but let's have a look at one. Let's have a go. I'm just going to pretend for the minute. Now x could be anything, but I'm just going to pretend in my head x is going to be 5, okay? So whenever I see an x, in my head I'm just going to think that's 5, okay? So let's just imagine I had something like this. Y is equal to x plus 2. Alrighty, well, using substitution, I could replace the x with a 5. Alrighty, I think that's pretty straightforward. Alrighty, I'm going to give you a slightly different one. Your x is going to be 3. And your equation is going to be, I'll make it a slightly different one. There we go. So pause the video now, have a go at that one. Alrighty, so hopefully you had a go. In your case, x was equal to 3. And you should have also got y is equal to 7. Did you get that? Right, I'm just replacing the letter with the number. Alrighty, so that's one. Let's do a slightly different one. My second equation is going to be, remember, still in my head, x is still equal to 5. All right, this is going to be, I'm just going to keep that the same. And for you guys, it's going to be x equals 3 for a while. Let's go. Y equals x minus 3. Alrighty. Substitute in. Five minus 3, y equals 2. Alrighty, your second equation is going to be, pause the video, have a quick go. Alrighty, so let's have a go through. Yours, x was equal to 3. We're not taking 3, we're taking only 1. But hey, look again, you get the same answer. Alrighty. I'm going to change the variables, right? I just chose x was equal to 5 and x was equal to 3. But we can always change that. That's not a forever thing. So let's try some different ones. Now my x is going to be 7 and your x is going to be 8. Okay? Might make the maths a little bit harder, but I think we'll manage. Alright, and I'm going to say my y is equal to this. Now what does this mean? Well, we've used formulas that look like this before. So we should remember that when we write numbers and letters next to each other, or letters and letters next to each other, with no symbol, it means multiplication. So this is really saying y equals 3 times x. So when I substitute in, I get that. 3 times x, 3 times 7, 21. Alrighty, your equation's going to look like this. See if you can finish that one. Not too difficult, that one. Replace the x with an 8. Make sure you put the times in there. And we no longer have the same answer this time. Ah, the shame. But, not worry, we're going to do one more. See if I can get on this one. Now I'm going to change my equation just a little bit. Y is equal to 3x plus 2. Not a huge difference, just a little difference. I'm just putting that plus 2 in the end. Now I want to have another go. X is still equal to 7. So what did I do this time? Well, I substituted in x with a 7, and I got 3 times 7 plus 2. 3 times 7 is just 21. 21 plus 2 is 23. Alrighty, so I'm going to give you a different equation, similar to your previous one. See if you can get that one. Your number was 8, wasn't it? Alrighty, so we've just, in a quick amount of time, we've managed to learn linear equations pretty easily. Now these are all positive numbers, right? I've been having positive numbers come in, like x equals 7 and x equals 8. And my equations have always been nice and given me nice positive answers for y as well. We're building up a relationship between x and y. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can actually change the value of x. And that's what we're going to be looking at later on. But for the minute, I just want us to look at a few outlier cases like what we did the other day. So, let's have a look at some of these. Alrighty. What happens if my equation looks a little bit different? What if, instead of the ones we've got, I'm going to leave x as a nice number. I'm going to have x equals 5, and you guys can have x equals 6. And this time, I'm just going to make my equation look a little bit different. What if y was equal to just x? Well, what does that mean? Well, let's use substitution, right? We replace the letter with the number. Y is equal to, x gets replaced with. So this equation tells us that when x equals 5, y is also equal to 5. I'm actually going to give you the same equation. What's your y going to be equal to? Well, it's going to be 6. This is a deceptively confusing one. People are usually pretty good at y equals x plus 2, y equals 3x, y equals 3x plus 2. But for some reason, whenever y equals x comes along, people get confused. But it just means y is equal to x. They're the same. When x equals 5, y equals 5. When x equals 6, y equals 6. When x equals 2.8 billion, y equals 2.8 billion. Doesn't matter how complicated it is, they are equal, always and forever. One more thing I wanted to be able to do. Negative numbers. Now I know negative numbers can be difficult, but calculators don't find negative numbers difficult at all. So if the arithmetic gets too hard, do not feel afraid to use the calculator. Just remember that your negative button, you can either use this little fella up here, or sometimes you can use the minus sign. But either way, it shouldn't be too difficult. So I'll go through one. Now, my x, I'm going to have x is equal to minus 3, and you guys can have x is equal to minus 8. Alrighty? And my equations, I'm going to build up. We're going to start with a nice easy one. Y is equal to x plus 5. Okay? So, Let's solve it. But how did I know that answer was 2? Right? Everything else was the same, but how did I know that was 2? I'm sure some of you might not know that it's 2, and that's fine. So how do I double check? Alrighty, well, remember, pushing this for my minus 3 plus 5, minus 3 plus 5 equals 2. So we're all good. So if you need to substitute into a calculator, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're always going to have access to a calculator. Your one's going to be x plus 6. See if you can have a go at that one. Try doing it in your head maybe, but calculator's always there. Alrighty, how'd you go? So the substitution part wasn't too hard, I hope. Minus 8 plus 6. Make sure you typed it in right. Minus 8 plus 6, minus 2. So, I'm going to get one more step further, and then we're going to be finished. X is still equal to negative 3, x is still equal to negative 8. Let's try y is equal to minus 3x plus 5. Alrighty, that looks a little bit more scary, but I believe in us, so let's substitute in. Y is equal to Alrighty. What did I do? Well, I still substituted like normal. That just came straight from the top. And everything else, the times comes from the fact that it's 3x minus 3x. It's still minus 3 times whatever x is, plus 5. And in this case, the answer is 14. How do I know it's 14? Well, if you're not sure, type it in. Check. Make sure you get the right answer. So, for you, finishing off for today's lesson, I just want you to have a go at this last one. Oh, that's a highlighter. Y is equal to minus 2x plus 6, with your x still equal to negative 8 as before. So pause the video last time, have a go at this one. Alrighty, y is equal to minus 2 times minus 8 plus 6. Type that into your calculator. Oh, let's see if I get it right. I think, if I'm doing the maths right, it should be 22. 22 indeed. Alrighty. Hope you had fun with that. Have a great day. Bye.